Real good evening. As you can see behind us here, still an active scene at this TriMet station at 148th Ave and East Burnside. Going to step out of the way and give you a live look right now. Now, here's what we know up to this point. One thing both the family and law enforcement want you to take from a tragic story like this is to never underestimate the terrain you're getting into. For example, look how difficult this would be to hike, and we're only about 50 feet away from the road. Also keep in mind that your gear may not work the way it's supposed to. This compass really struggling as we're close to the magnetism in the lava fields. How cool is this, right? Out with the old, in with the new. You can see these walls already coming down. Excited travelers coming in and out of PDX, stopping to see all the state-of-the-art changes that they told us today are a long time coming. It has certainly been all hands on deck these past 24 hours. Just take a look here at all the different emergency vehicles that have come to try and contain this Larch Creek fire. Thursday's tsunami warnings brought a wave of concern, mostly for the southern and central coastal cities here in Oregon. But even here in the northern parts, the topic of preparedness was clearly on everyone's mind. As you can see behind me here, Portland police still working an active situation here at Northeast 17th Avenue. Going to step out of the way and give you a live look right now. The good news is there is no longer any imminent threat regarding this officer-involved shooting. After almost a 2-decade wait, no monkey wrench was going to end it this night prematurely. The iconic Foo Fighters rocking out at Providence Park with all their big-time hits. Let's go! Well, what a day for the 52nd running of the Portland Marathon, a record setter, the largest in a decade, with more than 9,000 registered participants.
It's a really beautiful day for the city to come together and support our participants.
Howdy, Nick, and let me tell you, you can't be at St. Paul Rodeo if you don't have some goats right here. Pete, I got the best assignment in the state here tonight, right? Just outside Autzen Stadium, you can see the fans behind me, the electricity, the energy, 60,000 starting to pour their way in. The 55th season of Blazers basketball tipped off against the Warriors at the Moda Center Wednesday night, and fans say they are beyond excited to see this young core take a big step here in 2024-25. A fresh coat of red, white, and black for a brand new Rip City season. That's right, Fox 12's Mackenzie Richmond is on the scene. Mackenzie, still looks like a pretty active situation out there behind you developing. Back on July 17th, local and state law enforcement felt like they delivered a huge blow to the fentanyl crisis here in downtown Portland. But as you just alluded to, in the last 2 weeks, we've learned most of these individuals are right back here on the street. So the question begs, is anything truly changing? It is one of the age-old questions. Are we alone in the universe? Well, if you come here to the Gorge Paranormal Info Center, you'll see dozens of reports of residents here in the Pacific Northwest that say at least they saw something they can't explain. And now Congress is also looking for answers as well. A Vietnam veteran himself, the 77-year-old knows plenty about the honor and cruelty of service. The band of brothers and family soldiers promise to never leave behind. On Friday, after almost 8 decades, his brother will find his eternal resting place next to his mother. One last honor for a life spent defending our freedoms and all those still out there. From Sochi to Pyeongchang, Beijing, and now Paris, one North Central Oregon family for the past decade has been woven into Team USA's opening night ceremonies.
Everything we need to survive comes from the land, so it's timeless.
The American dream lives in every fiber out here. 153 years of it, in fact, beginning with those brave souls who blazed the Oregon Trail.
Our story starts on the Oregon Trail in 1852 when Richard Hinton was born in a wagon on the way west.
That wagon ride led to the creation of the Shanaka Wool Company, the material of the iconic blazer of this year's Olympic and Paralympic Games.
The shearers are so good, they know how to relax the sheep, how to apply pressure where to create the ability to get a smooth removal of the wool without harming the animal. It's a beautiful dance.
Jeannie Carver and her late husband Dan started the vision that would eventually become the brand in 2018.
I used to say to Dan, if only somebody would drive down this dirt road and see who we are and what we do.
Using a climate-smart and responsible wool standard approach on the Imperial Stock Ranch just outside Maupin that caught the eye of the Ralph Lauren Company more than a decade ago. And the rest, as they say, is history.
And they chose that yarn, and 6 months later, I got the largest yarn order of my life up until then. Didn't know what it was for, a special project, but that special project turned out to be the first Made in America Olympic uniforms by Ralph Lauren.
For the former Oregon State athlete turned ambassador for the American wool industry, having a piece of her family and Oregon history displayed for the world to see has been a truly magical ride.
Think of all the people wearing our wool the other night in Paris. Think of that, you know, from Simone Biles to Katie Ledecky to LeBron James and Steph Curry and a host of others I could name. It's unbelievable.
These days, Carver and her son Ben oversee 10 Western U.S. farms producing the only RWS certified American merino wool. The hope is to continue to partner with Team USA, shepherding top-tier stewardship and uniforms that began right here in the Beaver State.
My husband always said it's easier to say no than it is yes, but sometimes you have to say yes and then you have to deliver. And so don't be afraid to walk through the door when it opens and be ready when it does.